Hey, what's going on, guys? And welcome to episode 18 and the final episode of the 2022 year. I'm your host, Jericho, along with my co-host, X and Santana. And this is the Raw Report. We got a jam-packed episode today. And we got many different things to talk about today. And one of those things is definitely the Jacksonville Jaguars. So we're going to jump right into it. But before we start, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, drop a comment. Follow us on Instagram at Raw Fantasy Sports. So talk to me, fellas. The Jaguars are making noise right now. They might clinch the playoffs. We're starting to see that Trevor Lawrence is that real deal Holyfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's looking like it's the Trevor Lawrence show out in Jacksonville. As of right now, if the playoffs start today, they would play the Ravens in the playoffs. And between us guys, they might upset somebody. It's looking like they could upset somebody. They're 7-8, but they own the tiebreaker against the Titans. And as of right now, they're looking like a formidable option from the AFC South to upset someone. Are they going to win a Super Bowl? I don't think so. But with Doug Peterson, he got him on the right track.
Yeah, so we have two teams right now that having clinched are in the top 7. So one of them is Jacksonville. The other one is the Miami Dolphins. However, you have New England creeping up, and you have the New York Jets creeping up.
Jacksonville's looking good. They're looking good. They already took the division lead from the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry, doubtful. And what a blow to all fantasy owners that are still in the running for that championship and have Derrick Henry on the roster. It's not looking good. All the reports say that he has yet to practice this week. They play on Thursday, which is tomorrow. The final AFC spot going up right there.
Yeah, and they don't even need the whole AFC. Like they could lose, but as long as they're better than the Titans or tie the Titans, they'll be in that playoff hunt.
Yeah, and speaking of fantasy owners, man, Justin Herbert absolutely shitting the bed this last weekend, including myself and some of my fantasy leagues. He definitely lost me some playoff games, man, with 5 points in fantasy. But although it kind of looks kind of whack in fantasy, he's just pushing the Chargers forward. He's getting the Chargers all up in the mix there. They definitely clinched, all right? So they're 9-6. They're in there like swimwear, you know what I mean? But Justin Herbert just seems to be having funny performances. He'll have good ones, he'll have bad ones. But I overall think I've had him the majority of my leagues this season. I just overall think that he's had a bad performance, man. He doesn't come through as we hoped. He's definitely not the Justin Herbert of 2021. And hopefully, man, he could pick it up for the playoffs. But, so far he managed to get LA Chargers to clinch right now.
Yeah, they had easy game this past week. They played the Colts, I believe. They were just concerned with giving the ball to Eckler and even Josh. He even got, I believe, 9 or 10 touches out the backfield. And, he still had 200 yards passing, Herbert. So he was throwing the ball right. It's just they didn't really need him to go, more than just being a game manager. So, the 5 or 6 points he got on fantasy, it doesn't really, it doesn't dictate how good of a quarterback he can be, although he has been average this year. But if he can turn it on at the right time, that's when they'll need him. That's when they'll have to rely on him to do so. And he brought them to a 9-6 record. It's been sneaky. It's like a sneaky 9-6 because now they just jumped on the Dolphins. So, they're still in it. So I'm not going to pound on him too bad, but I understand what you're saying. Fantasy-wise, he has been, a letdown. Some people were taking him over Patty.
That was upsetting because this man was setting records, blowing up numbers, blowing up the stat sheets last year. A lot of people put their faith in Herbert. A lot of people lost because of him this week, right? So to all of our followers out there, I know we all told y'all to start Herbert, and it's like our commish right here, Jerry just said, who he himself started, and he saw pretty much an exit off of his playoffs. A salute to you for your.
He basically cost me 2 playoff losses right now this weekend.
Hey,
And in
hey.
one of them, I was supposed to win one of them, but this guy scored 5 fucking points. What am I supposed to do with that, bro? Like, I'm here trying to win championship. I'm trying to get championship rings, and I'm here losing back to back to Hugo. Shout outs to Hugo, Polo
Oh,
League, RFS.
Sorry to hear that.
aka Fluffy McLovin. But yeah, I agree with X. He also mentioned how the Chargers had a sneaky entrance into the playoffs because they were bad. It was a lost season. 4 or 5 weeks ago, you were already calling it a lost season. Keenan Allen not playing. Mike Williams not playing. Justin Herbert not throwing touchdowns, not winning the games. But now they strung a couple consecutive wins, and like X said, they have now just overtaken the second wild card spot in the AFC, leaving one up for grabs, which could go to, but it doesn't look pretty, to the Dolphins.
To the Dolphins. But let's talk about how the Chargers beat the Dolphins in their head-to-head. And that, started a string of games that they've been winning. That brought them to 6. They've been beating the teams that they need to beat now.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. They have, and yeah, let's just see how that goes. That's another team that's been maligned by injuries. They have a couple key guys out. I don't personally think that they built for a long run in the playoffs, but to see them there is a testament to the skill of the players and especially the men leading them. One of them being Herbert. Shout out to that guy.
Right.
But now, we'll have a little bit of wine because I know we're about to talk about Tua next.
Is that your sympathy wine? Is that your
It's my Bel Air,
your
baby.
depression wine that you got sitting next to your fireplace in hot ass Miami?
This called Bel Air, baby.
Bro, let's have a moment of silence for Tua being in the concussion protocol.
Oh man, that's not good for the Dolphins. What is that? The third concussion of the year for Tua Tagovailoa?
No. See, that people are reading the headlines wrong. It is his second concussion, but it is the third time he enters a concussion protocol this year. They made him enter that shit immediately after the Bills game, just because. And then they had said, "Oh, it didn't happen." But yeah, it's scary. It's scary because a former linebacker, Emmanuel Ocha, that has a couple segments on ESPN and NFL Network. He said a line this morning, and it really struck with me, guys. It really did because it made me think of the gravity, like the gravity behind his words were real. He said that his draft mates and close friend Luke Kuechly retired at the age of 28 because he suffered 3 concussions in one season. Luke Kuechly, who was a 7-time Pro Bowler all of his career and 5-time All-Pro, prime of his career, best linebacker in the league, hands down, retired because he had 3 concussions in 1 year.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say this. I'll go ahead and say this, and I said this when it happened earlier in the season when we saw him all like stuck on the field.
Don't say it.
Hey, man, get your money, homeboy, while you're still young. Get out of the league. I think if he keeps getting hit, man, he's not gonna be able to walk or talk. And if it's not now, he's gonna end up feeling it when he's 55 years old. We hear it from the OGs all the time. They're saying, listen, you're young now, you don't feel it, but you're gonna feel it in 20, 30 years from now. And look, bro, at this rate, I just always thought he was too small to be in the NFL to begin with, and he's just getting manhandled out there. So I really think he should get his money and be out, bro. Go get an analyst job, get a steady, go chill with Tim Tebow in the college network, and call it a day, bro. And the Dolphins should just stick to Teddy Bridge.
I disagree entirely. Why? Where is the same treatment and scrutiny for Kenny Pickett, who suffered back-to-back concussions on back-to-back weeks? Where? No. Just because Tua's games were nationally televised, it's an issue. All right. What about Joe Burrow? I saw a video earlier today, and it will be connected as a link to on this episode. Joe Burrow on a podcast talking of the topic was concussion because of what happened to Tua. This man said, and verbatim, well, I haven't really had any concussion-like symptoms or concussions, but I have had moments where I don't remember, like a quarter of the game, or when they ask me about a certain game I played, I won't remember like the game itself. But I haven't had any concussion-like symptoms. That is a concussion-like answer. What in the world? What in the world was that man talking about?
Yeah.
What? But because none of that happened on national televised games, it's not an issue. But because the whole world saw Tua on two different occasions go wobbly. Look, listen, he's not gonna play. I hear the course of action is that he's not gonna play for the rest of the regular season. If the Dolphins win this weekend against Mac Jones and the drowning Patriots, they're in. That's it. Every other AFC team lost last weekend that was in the contention. So even if they win out, they won't even match the Dolphins' win total record as of now. So it's literally the Dolphins' last playoff spot to lose.
Yeah, but when it comes down to his availability, this is already
it's up in the air. It's up in the air. You're right.
I think pretty much confirmed that he just can't sustain the ins and outs of an NFL season. It's too brutal for him. And even a Kyler Murray, who's smaller than him, he's quicker. He has a quicker twitch. He's almost like a Trey Young. Like, he's ahead of the game. Tua, he's really getting blindsided on some of these hits, and it looks bad.
Yeah, they're bad hits, bro. Like, he just had a bad string. Aaron Rodgers said it himself post game. He says, look, he's taking some vicious hits this year. So, some of the things that you like to avoid. I get criticized for throwing the ball away a lot, but it's because to avoid hits like that can happen to anybody. So
That's true.
Let's just see how it goes. There's different ways as the quarterback to go about this. Obviously, it's a testament to men like Rodgers and Brady, who have similar styles in the game. So they see something break down, they throw it away. They throw it on the ground. They'll take that intentional grounding and lift the player, like another play. That's something that I believe Tua is going to have to implement in his game a lot earlier, because he's young, and like a young player, you want to impress. All
right, so I'm letting you guys know first. You heard it from me. I play Fluffy in 2 leagues in the playoffs, and I'm going to have to take him down in both leagues.
Oof, so that's tough.
Trash talk. I like it.
Yes. In the following weeks, I'll be in 2 championships, and hopefully I can win both championships, and then I'll talk the most shit anyone has ever heard on this show. So if I win 2 leagues out of the major leagues in the Raw Fantasy Sports organization, I'll be more than thrilled. And then I'm just looking forward to the Champions League. That's another league we got coming up. Really excited about that one. Looking forward to all the best players in the Raw Fantasy Sports universe, and fantasy football perhaps next year. And we're looking forward to that. But as far as this year, we're just gonna make sure we finish strong and try to bring home 2 championships.
So, as much as I would love to see my boy talk the massive shit, no one, and I repeat, absolutely no one, will talk more shit than I, if I walk away with 2 championships after this upcoming weekend. If you guys don't know, I'm in the finals in our RLX league with our boy, our very good commissioner, Jerry. I hope you have the worst week possible. I hope you have the worst week possible. I hope you wake up with constant constipation this whole weekend. That will fuck up your decision. And in the big polo league that I've been banned from for 8 years, I'm back in strong, baby. I'm in the semis, going against Squad to Squad. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Felix. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to your old ass, dated out New Balance shoes that you've been wearing for the past 2 years. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about the scratched up, old dated, fogged up glasses that you wear to every single outing that we invite you to. I'm talking about that Julio Iglesias 1989 hairdo that you've been rocking ever since you became a father. Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Listen. It's funny that X mentioned Fluffy McMuffin over here because Hugo, he
Mr.
just
Wide
came in.
Receiver.
He's been tearing shit up. I lost to him last year at the finals, okay? And I gotta admit that I went to 2 finals last year. I won one and I lost the other, okay? And now I'm back again the following year, RLX finals with Santana over here. And I'm going for my second ring, third final, second ring in 2 years. All right. So it was unfortunate, man. I was playing Fluffy McLovin in the NPR League. Shout out NPR League, a 12-person league. And man, like Justin Herbert, 5.5 points. Like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that in the fantasy playoffs, guys? Like, how does this guy get 5 points in fantasy? And on top of that, one of my bigger mistakes, and I must admit, I left Richie James on the bench, and he went out for 17 points. And that was one of my mistakes on the bench. I gotta admit that. But I should have won this game by a long shot. And luckily I'm back in the finals, guys. I don't fret. I made 4 playoffs out of the 5 leagues that I'm in, and I made a final. And I'm out here. I'm playing Santana this weekend, and it's gonna be a bloodbath. Shout outs to the RLX family, Raw Fantasy Sports. It's a reunion out here. I beat Moreno last week for the Battle of the Commissioner. So commissioner versus ex-commissioner, we out here, baby. I beat Brian Moreno to move to the next round. And man, it's getting funny out here, guys. It's getting funny because some of these players are coming through. Other players are just not, man. So it's about to get real funky in the playoffs.
Yeah. Man, if you guys don't know, my team name is the same throughout all 3 leagues. Tua Raw Dogs, baby. Hurts my soul to see my man being dropped. Every single time I log on the fantasy app, I get a notification saying Tua Tagovailoa has been dropped by 17,385 teams throughout the Yahoo platform.
Every week is a love valley.
Oh man, it's
You're the only one picking him up, bro. It's only you.
I know. I had to be true to my team name.
So in our big money league, shout outs to the Polo League, Raw Fantasy Sports. The Polo League, our big money league right here. We had X taking out Polo, and then we had Flex taking out Vegas. All right, he was the 6th seed. He took out the 3rd seed, and now they're on to the next round, the semifinals. So it's going to be X versus Fluffy McLovin at the semifinals, and Flex versus Bone Santana at the Final 4 in the big money league. And it's the historic Polo League. And as everybody knows, it's the most prestigious league that we have in RFS. We also have the Fantasy Cup. Yes, we got a Fantasy Cup coming up next year, which basically combines all of our best players from every single league made into one super league, 12-team league. And it's going to be very exciting next year. So, guys, we got a lot of work to do, man. One thing that's very exciting to get into is the upcoming QB free agency, QB trades coming up. We know there's going to be a lot of movement there, guys.
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be a lot of movement this offseason. As we were mentioning, amongst ourselves, we have, Daniel Jones from the Giants. We're waiting to see how this season unfolds to see what happens with his contract situation. We got question marks with Derek Carr. We were even question marks with, a young quarterback. Look at Mac Jones' situation. He still has 2 years left on a rookie. He can get moved. A lot of players can get moved. Just because they're, we're used to seeing someone there doesn't mean they can't get moved at a sudden change. Some things happen in the offseason. And, a lot of quarterbacks are, up in question. Look at the Garoppolo situation, So we'll see what happens this year, but it's going to be a lot of movement.
I'm gonna say all the quarterbacks that could be on possibly gonna move: Rodgers, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, Daniel Jones, Derek Carr. But my most favorite conundrum out there in the whole league quarterback wise is what the 49ers have to do with 3 viable options: Jimmy G, Trey Lance, the guy they gave up 3 first-round picks for, or Brock Purdy, the man that's been leading them on a current win streak. What do they do? Who do they keep?
Yeah, so I think Jimmy G is going to end up finding a new home. He ended up signing that 1 or 2 year deal. I think it's a short-term deal just to have been the backup before Trey Lance got injured. Then he took over as a starter. Then he got injured again. All right. So I think I see a good opportunity in Vegas, believe it or not. I think Derek Carr is not the guy. I mentioned this. I was big on Vegas this year, guys. You can take a look back at the tapes, all the episodes we done dropped. I was saying Vegas every episode. I'm still saying Vegas every episode. But Derek Carr is not that guy, guys. He's been there for like 900 years. He's 77 years old. Like, bro, just get him the hell out of Las Vegas. I think I definitely see Jimmy G on the move, and he might end up either New Orleans or Las Vegas. I definitely think that Las Vegas should trade Derek Carr, guys. I know he got that new deal, but there's nothing left to do there, bro. You had a top 3 receiver on the team. You have the best running back in the league. There's absolutely no reason why the Raiders should be doing this bad in this season, all right? And the other guy that I was gonna mention, of course, is Baker Mayfield. He's killing it in Los Angeles right now as the backup. But I do not see the Rams moving on from Matthew Stafford. So I do see potentially Baker finding a new home, maybe New Orleans. I definitely see that being a potential move for him.
Yeah, I think New Orleans might make a change at quarterback. I think they still have Jameis under contract, if I'm not mistaken. Was it a 2-year deal he signed? I think it was a 2-year. So they might have Jameis. They can still draft somebody. They can still, make a signing, make a trade. Baker's definitely going to be on the move. He's helping his case as at least a viable backup quarterback in the NFL. He can get himself a, 2-3 year, $20 million deal as a backup, to a team that has a young quarterback like the Jets or something like that. I see them making a move on something like, a move like that. Because Mike White, he has a few games to prove himself. We know he can have a few good games, but he's going to need to have more than 3 touchdowns and 2 interceptions for, the New York Jets. And this is a perfect time. This is, a crucial stretch. They win 2 games, they can possibly, make the playoffs. So, if, how that situation unfolds dictates how the Jets offseason will go. And then, obviously you're going to have a lot of movement going on. You have the Bengals, they're a lock. You have the Ravens are good. Anybody could get upset. What if Buffalo gets upset first week in the playoffs? You know what I mean? Like, who's it going to beat? Who's it going to beat? So Jack is going to be the Jags. There's going to be some ups this year. There's going to be some chaos.
Hold on. Breaking news. I just found out that Russell Wilson was traded away for Futures DJ due to the players' request in the locker room. That's somebody that nobody's talking about. That's a man that could be on the move. Russell Wilson and his fake-ass prayers.
You can't.
Nah.
I
don't see that happening, bro. He's the $240 million quarterback. They better make some shit happen out there in Denver, man. It is the biggest waste of money I've ever seen in my life.
I want to put it on headlines every week, bro. That is something no one is talking about. The locker room has turned against Russell Wilson and his $250 million guaranteed dollars.
Well, it sounds like they're gonna have to get a new locker room because Russell's there to stay, homie. They didn't spend all that money to not keep Russell Wilson at this point. They're gonna get rid of everybody, and just gut the team around guys that want to play with Russell Wilson. Or maybe something that nobody's even talking about, guys, right? Maybe Pete Carroll knew something that nobody else knew in the league. Maybe he knew something about Russell Wilson that not everybody else did. Maybe he was just good enough to get the best out of Russell Wilson. And the moment he got his little drop, he left him out to dry. You know what I mean? Now we're seeing the unraveling of Russell Wilson, guys. $240 million down the hatch. This guy did a terrible fucking job. I think he needs to be benched, but they're not going to do that. They're going to put him to work, guys. So who wants to go play with Russell Wilson now becomes the question. You know what I mean? So,
I think he still has Cortland Sutton for next year. Probably has his best.
Judy.
Make some moves.
Judy's gone, bro. Judy has Futures entire playlist on his phone. He's gone.
Who was the running back? Javonte Williams. He got hurt, right?
It was Melvin Gordon, and they released him because he had 4 fumbles like in a 5-week span or some shit like that.
Oh, and Javante got hurt, I think, ACL, right? Or some shit.
I just
Yeah,
want to
he
take a
ended
moment
up
right
getting
now.
injured.
I want to take a brief moment, and I just want to give a special shout out to myself because I thought I had the genius move of the draft by taking Allen Robinson early because I thought he was going to be the bomb number 2 wide receiver. We all know how that turned out. And yet I still made the fucking playoffs, and I'm in the finals and in the semis and going all the way in polo. Talk about it.
No, you're not.
Woo!
Yo, my team is serious, bro. I think my team is serious, bro. And I'm gonna start the running back from Atlanta, that young kid. I'm gonna start his ass, bro.
Cordell Patterson?
Nope, the young kid, the rookie. His I don't even know how to say his last name. It starts with an A.
Cordell Patterson gonna take all his touches.
Nah, this kid's gonna go off, bro. I'm telling you, he's a rookie. He just got 18 carries.
I'm telling y'all. I told Jerry, y'all should have never let me back in the main league. I was banned for 8 years.
You're not gonna
guys.
win nothing.
8 years.
You're probably gonna go down the same
years.
fate everybody else goes down. Just make sure that Flex don't win, though.
Y'all hate us because y'all don't want to see me shine. But it's all right. I love y'all. Y'all my favorites.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This comes to the conclusion of our final episode of 2022. It's been a hell of a ride since we started this episode. We'd like to thank everybody who gave us our streams. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, drop a comment, follow us on Instagram, Raw Fantasy Sports. And we'll see you in 2023, guys. Back in the playoffs, back with the NBA talk. You already know what it is. It's the Raw Report. Shout outs to my co-host Santana at X. And we'll see you guys next year, fellas.
Santana,
and ladies.
Santana.
Yeah. By the time you see me, I'm going to be the world champ here, bro.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro. You
drunk. All up for championships.
Goes to show y'all. All 3 of us in contention. We out. We out here. All 3 of us.
We out here, guys.
I'm ready to ruin all your dreams.